Hey, Mr. President, it is almost time for the start of your Zoom meeting.
Mike, listen, okay? Frankly, you know how I am. I'm just very, very old school. I'd rather call them on the phone or talk to them in person, face to face.
Yes, Mr. President, I understand that, sir, but with the coronavirus spreading, we need to make sure that you are safe. The best way that we can do that is with Zoom.
Mike, you know better than anyone else that I'm a very extroverted person. I like to make a splash or do something different, Really make people sit on the edge of their seat, be different than everyone else.
I think I might have an idea, Mr. President.
All right, is everyone here? Let's get this meeting over with. As you all know, I have a lot of work to do.
Wait, Mr. President, are you here and also in an airplane cockpit? That doesn't seem very safe. No, Ben Carson, that's just a filter. Are you sure, Mr. President? I want to make sure you are safe. Yes, Alex, it is just a filter. Can we just get on with this meeting? So, as the Surgeon General, my main job is to make sure that the President is safe. Just don't crash, Mr. President.
As Mike said, it's just a filter, okay, frankly? So let's get on with our meeting.
No, I personally can't go on with this meeting if I can't have my own. I want to be at the Krusty Krab with, SpongeBob and Squidward and all that stuff. Yeah, me too. I want one. How do I get one? Oh no, we're never gonna get anything done today. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kyle Dockery with the Dockery Docket. We are here with our very 21st episode of the Dockery Docket. I can't believe it has been that many, but I'm excited to be here, and I hope that you are excited to be here as well. And if you are, make sure to do what all good listeners do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and do all things that good listeners do. Also, you can also write in the comments. We have a comments section. You can write me questions. You can write me different things that I can address during the show or anything else that you want to, okay? I'm not forcing you to do anything, but it'd be cool. How is your quarantine going? Are you starting out your quarantine beard? I know that I am, and it hasn't really been looking that good, but hopefully by the end of this quarantine, I will have a good beard, and I haven't gone crazy yet, but we still have a lot more to go. But what has been going crazy is definitely the media, as there's been a lot of different things going on with the media. I know we talked a little bit about that last week, but this week I wanted to talk about the coronavirus, but not talk about it as much, because I know that a lot of you are sitting at home and you're sick and you're tired of hearing every single thing on the news media right now is about the coronavirus. You start looking at pictures from New York. You start seeing pictures from Italy. You start seeing the death toll. It's really getting on your mind. So today, I'm going to talk about something different, and that is the response to the coronavirus and how Democrats are starting to come at Donald Trump for that. And this is all leading up to, maybe, possibly, the start of impeachment number 2. Many people, especially in the media, are saying that Trump's handling of the coronavirus has not been very good. And truthfully, it wasn't really the best, but if Donald Trump were to have said on February 29th, we're closing down everything, nobody go anywhere, nobody do anything, we're shutting down the entire economy with only 2 or few cases in the United States, everyone would be like, why? But there are definitely different things that we could have done that would have helped, like rebuilding our stockpile of ventilators and masks, and not all of that is on Donald Trump. That shouldn't all be blamed on Donald Trump, as, past administrations have had chances to rebuild the stockpile, make sure the stockpile was good, and I'm not saying that I'm blaming Barack Obama for anything, but what happens is, after Barack Obama dealt with the H1N1 virus, he had a chance to restock. And we didn't take that time to restock, and now we are seeing this shortage happen. So I don't want to be like, it's all Obama's fault. It's all Obama's fault. And that's not true. Donald Trump had time to rebuild stuff, get more masks, but he didn't see it coming. No one saw this coming. Like I said, if Donald Trump would have said on February 29th, if he would have said it on January 1st, January 2nd, any other day, like super early in this fiasco, and he was like, we're shutting down the entire economy, everyone would have been like, why is he doing this? He's being an authoritarian. Along with that, during this time, during the February 29th and early January, there are videos of Bill de Blasio, Nancy Pelosi, and others in New York City being like, come on down and join us. We're having a great big party. You know, be safe. And this was around the same time that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez made her video saying, make sure you go to Chinese restaurants and get food from them, and if you don't, you're a racist, which I already talked about recently. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of politicians missed this, and even if they knew a little bit about it, no one was calling for a complete shutdown of the American economy. But anyway, this has led to Democrats to start doing some wasteful investigations. As on Thursday, Nancy Pelosi wanted to start an investigation into Donald Trump and his handling of the coronavirus, along with a committee that will watch over the $2.2 billion to make sure that the money is not wasted by the federal government, which makes sense. But yet, there is more. In a Dear Colleague letter, Pelosi said she envisioned a coronavirus committee along the lines of the Truman Committee created shortly before World War II to investigate defense spending. Pelosi said the new committee, which will be headed by Majority Whip Jim Clyburn, will be bipartisan. Wait a minute, Jim Clyburn? That's right, folks. That's the same Jim Clyburn that recently endorsed Joe Biden for president. So this idea of this little committee being bipartisan is false. Just like the impeachment investigation that we saw, which was also tried to be partisan, also failed miserably. Along with the watching of federal funds and making sure that they aren't mismanaged by the federal government, Pelosi also wrote, the committee will be empowered to examine all aspects of the federal response to the coronavirus. She wrote, among those powers, she added, will be ability to press to ensure that federal response is based on the best possible science and guided by the nation's best health experts. So this means they could call someone from the Trump administration and say, why did you not do this at the right time? They could call in Anthony Fauci and be like, why didn't you say this to the president? Why didn't you do that? And then they could have some scientist outside the administration come in and say, oh yes, we should have locked down our economy on January 2nd or February 29th, which no one was asking for at the time. And also, along with this, talking about the committee that will examine the federal funds, I kind of understand that. I kind of like the idea of having someone watch over these funds. I mean, it's $2.2 trillion. So I think someone needs to watch over it. But at the same time, I feel like their focus is more on the president. And that's where it's wrong, to just focus on the president. If they're just focusing on the money, that's fine. But if they're saying, we're going to get Donald Trump for this, while there are people outside who are dying, that's not okay. So these investigations have also been pushed forward by Adam Schiff as well, as House Intelligence Committee chairman. Adam Schiff on Friday publicly proposed the establishment of a bipartisan commission. Remember, bipartisan, everything's good, with subpoena power to investigate the response to the coronavirus pandemic by the Trump administration and other levels of government. Do we all remember Adam Schiff? Do we remember him? I had lots of videos about him in the past. He's also featured, his voice is featured in one of them. But anyway, Adam Schiff is the guy who started all of the impeachment nonsense. The one that didn't know who the whistleblower was, but knew that their name should never be mentioned, and prevented people from talking because they may say the name of the whistleblower even though that he didn't know who the whistleblower was. Well, he is back. And this means that we could be dealing with impeachment number 2, which I think would be one of the worst sequels of all time, to be completely honest with you. So as of right now, the investigation would be like a 9/11 style report, which was just an investigation on how 9/11 can happen and how we could prevent it from happening. And this investigation led to the TSA being stronger, using x-rays and patting people down and stuff like that. It was reported by Fox News that Schiff's commission would include 10 lawmakers to examine the government's preparedness in advance of the COVID-19 pandemic and the response to it, and would provide recommendations to improve our ability to respond to and recover from future outbreaks, epidemics, and pandemics, his office said on Friday. So this makes sense to me. I mean, both of these investigations make sense to me, but the issue is that they're aiming these investigations at Donald Trump. If they were just looking into how we can make sure that this is preventable in the future, that's okay. But if you're trying to place the whole blame on Donald Trump and the Donald Trump administration, that's where it's wrong. Nancy Pelosi, I think it's great that she's looking into the $2.2 trillion that are going out there. Adam Schiff, make sure you can look into this and say, how can we prevent COVID-19 from happening again? But there is some discrepancy here as well, as it doesn't really make sense because there were no investigations after the H1N1 virus, and how the Obama administration handled it, and how we could have prevented those viruses. I mean, if we would have had an investigation into the Obama administration's handling of H1N1, maybe the coronavirus would never have happened. You know, like, maybe we would have been better prepared, and maybe we would have had better supplies, better materials, and we would have been ready for this stuff. And even with one of the worst pandemics, the Spanish flu, no one was investigating Woodrow Wilson and his handling of the virus, just like I said before. Maybe H1N1 wouldn't have happened if we would have investigated Woodrow Wilson and his administration and how he handled the virus and said, okay, how can we better prevent this disease from happening in the future? Maybe H1N1 wouldn't have happened, leading to COVID-19 not happening. So that's just all out there, and it's all interesting how you don't investigate Woodrow Wilson, you don't investigate the Obama administration, you don't investigate any other sitting president for their response to a virus that no one expected to have this much damage. So it all just seems a little bit fishy to me, and makes me believe that Democrats have something under their sleeves, as both Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff are working to make sure that Trump is investigated even when there are people dying outside from the virus. So, as you might imagine, Republicans were not very happy about this, especially Donald Trump, who said in a recent news conference that he has seen...
I've seen Americans unite with incredible selflessness and compassion. I want to remind everyone here in our nation's capital, especially in Congress, that this is not the time for politics, endless partisan investigations. Here we go again. Have already done extraordinary damage to our country in recent years. You see what happens. It's witch hunt after witch hunt after witch hunt. And in the end, the people doing the witch hunt have been losing, and they've been losing by a lot. It's not any time for witch hunts. It's time to get this enemy defeated. Conducting these partisan investigations in the middle of a pandemic is a really big waste of vital resources, time, attention. And we want to fight for American lives, not waste time and build up my poll numbers, because that's all they're doing, because everyone knows it's ridiculous.
Wow. Well, I mean, if you're actually listening right now, that wasn't my voice. That was the actual president. You know, I added the video, which is a new thing that I'm going to try and do, add little interviews and stuff like that. So anyway, Trump is right about this. And just like I said last week on the show, partisan politics for right now needs to be thrown out the window. And we need to come together to make sure that this virus is cured, and then we can look into how to prevent it all from happening at another time. But we shouldn't be investigating Trump and how he handled this, because it is all going to be a what if. What if this? What if that? What if Donald Trump would have said, let's shut down the economy at this time? Let's shut it down at this time. What happens if we would have shut it down at this time? Nobody knows. And it's all a big what if. And all that we can do right now is look forward to the future and try to get out of this place that we are in right now, which is our homes. And hopefully soon we will be able to get out and live the best life that we can. However, there are many people who are continuing to say that Trump is 100% responsible for this virus and all the deaths that have taken place, and it is absolutely stupid. We are seeing this with the Democrats doing all their different investigations into Donald Trump and saying Donald Trump is solely responsible. Many people on Twitter are saying this is the Trump pandemic. People are saying, oh good, Donald Trump won't wear a face mask. Maybe he'll get the virus and die. It is absolutely absurd what these people are saying. And also, if Trump were 100% responsible for all the deaths that happened during the coronavirus, then that would mean that Obama would be responsible for the deaths of H1N1 and Ebola. And also President Woodrow Wilson would be responsible for every death that happened from the Spanish flu. These are absolutely ridiculous claims, and no one believes them. If I were to say to you right now, Barack Obama killed thousands of people because the virus was his fault, you would think I was a crazy person. Of course the virus wasn't his fault. Of course the virus wasn't Woodrow Wilson's fault. No president expects a pandemic to happen. And I'm not saying that Trump handling is perfect, because there's definitely more that he could have done, but the blame should not be placed 100% at his feet. Well, we also need to remember where this virus started from, in China. And the Chinese government has lied multiple times to try and cover up their actions. It was reported this week. China has concealed the extent of the coronavirus outbreak in its country under reporting both total cases and deaths it suffered from the disease. The United States intelligence community concluded in a classified report to the White House, according to 3 United States officials. This lie or covering up is huge, because we don't know the exact number of people who have the virus in China or who have died from the virus in China. As of right now, China has about 82,000 cases, and I didn't even have to look that up because it has been that way for weeks. And I check the maps multiple times. I check the little worldometer.com, which I tell you about at the end of every episode, but their cases haven't changed. And I don't think it is because it has some new innovation of medicine, but it's because they are covering it up. And this means that China's numbers could look like America's numbers, or it could be worse than America's numbers. This is so important because here in America we are trying to make different models. And if those numbers in the models are wrong, then guess what? We are unprepared and think that, the virus will only infect 10,000 people or 100,000 people. And in the end, we find out it's going to take 2,000 people. It's going to infect 2,000 people. And so China needs to be honest and say, this is how many people have been sick by this. This is how many people have died from this. And why is the Chinese government not being honest? It's annoying. So I think we will dive more into China and how they have been lying from the very beginning about the virus next week, because right now there is a lot of conspiracy theories which are interesting, but I don't want to share with you right now, just in case they aren't true. So we will save those stories for next week. However, for this episode, I want to thank you for listening to the Dockery Docket, for liking, subscribing, and sharing my content on social media. It truly means so much to me. I believe we are growing bigger and stronger than ever before. And make sure that you keep in touch. So, until next week, on Tuesday at noonish, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving. Goodbye.